Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the fall semester. This is Dr. Allen. Hope you had a great summer. And if you're watching this video, that means that you are currently registered for Education 380 or Education 500 if you're a graduate student. And we're an online course, but each week I like to do these videos. Um, I will be the first to admit, I'm just going to go ahead and give the little disclaimer. I try to do them in one take with some success. They may not be perfect. They may have some me going, well, some, long pauses. But they're really just here to help. I will do my best not to keep these overly long. It's sometimes I can get a little long-winded, but they are here to help, and it's kind of to give a little bit of a presence in an asynchronous class. Um, so with that being said, this first video might be a little longer than some of the others. It might be a little shorter. We'll see how it progresses. Usually it's a little longer. Uh, we're going to go over kind of the nuts and bolts of what this class entails. I think the long and short of it, you've probably picked up from when you signed up. It's basically an education tech class. Both the graduate and undergraduate sections have kind of innovative technology titles or advanced technology in the classroom, but it's ed tech. So kind of to give you a brief overview, we're going to mostly just be looking at specific technology that you may use in your classrooms in the future, or if you're in the field or when you're student teaching, just things that can kind of help you out. I'm going to say this class usually isn't traditionally it's not I don't think it's a hard or complex class. The main thing that you do need to do is just keep up with the work. By and large, there's usually three things that are due each week, and we'll talk a little more about this when I pull up the syllabi. But it's usually a class where you're going to do a technology one week, you're going to do a discussion board, and then you are also going to do a blog that's basically reviewing the technology that we're doing. So some weeks there's a little more or a little less than that. We have some key assessments and things like that we have to do. But by and large, most weeks, especially these first, I'd say 9 weeks, that three things, it'll be a tech discussion blog, will be kind of the heart of it. So with that being said, I'm going to pull up the syllabi. I'm going to talk about the guidelines for the class. Um, and then I will talk about, we have a brief assignment that's due this week to kind of get you into the class. But just to kind of give an overview before I pull up the syllabi, when you come in, I do announcements every week, and this class will run basically from Monday through Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Um, I'll talk about late work when I pull up the syllabi, but by and large, you have a week to get everything done. And I do have everything open by Monday morning. It's usually open by midnight or, on the Monday. If I get everything prepped a little bit before, sometimes on the weekends, I will open it early if you want a little bit of a head start. Don't hold me to that. I will do the best that I can with that, though. And you also, I don't think this setup will look too, it won't be I'm sure you've seen setups like this in other online classes at this point because we've been utilizing more and more templates here at Shepherd, but everything will be rolling right down the side. You may not see all of these weeks right now because I haven't opened them yet, but each week will be on the side if you need to go back and, when you go in and you do your classwork and things like that. For us, week one will be the main one this week. I'll come back to that. But for right now, we're going to do start here and we're going to hit the syllabi. And I'm just going to go ahead and make it big so we can look at it. And if you were in the graduate section, there's one difference between this class for the undergraduates and the graduates. I'll talk about that at the end. You probably have already gotten an email if you're in the Ed 500 section also where I've moved you into the 380 space. We're going to do all the work in the 380 space so people can see kind of if they want to see discussion posts that you have or ideas that you have or viewpoints that you have. I think it's just a little more communal. But you should already have an email on that. But if you're having any problems accessing the class, just let me know. If you're in Education 500. If you're in Ed 380 and you can't access the class, definitely contact me also. Again, we are an asynchronous class, so we do not have a meeting time. And even though we don't have a meeting time, that doesn't mean that you can't come in and talk to me or, request a meeting or anything like that. My office hours are right here. I'm usually on campus all those days. Um, I will give you a little bit of a heads up. If I'm not, I do serve on some committees, and sometimes I might not be in my office right at that time. If I am not, I will, write something on my board. I would say most of the time, no, I'm in my office, even not during these office hours. But you can always email and check ahead of time also. Um, I'm in Canudi. I was trying to think what would be a good discussion, where a location. I'm right in the middle of Canudi. When you walk into Canudi and you see the TV on the front, I'm in that U-shaped area with history department, and if you've worked with Miss Baker in that area. So. Again, this is an ed tech class. I'm going to give a little bit of a disclaimer on this, though. Nothing bad. This class, though, has definitely changed in the last 2 or 3 years. Before it was just like basic tech. There has been something that has really changed the way this class operates, and I think you're going to know what it is, and it is AI. The reason I say I want to give a little bit of a disclaimer, I do go out and do observations in the field and student teach. It's obvious that teachers are starting to use AI more also. I've kind of went back and forth with it, but we are going to be doing some AI stuff in the class. It's not that I'm definitely not anti-AI, but I know some people don't love it. But some of the tools have AI features to them. We are going to look at those. You are not obligated after this class to use any of the stuff that's in here. And then the culminating final in this class, I actually, it is a related to an AI certification to get you used to kind of doing searches and all. But with that assignment, because that is using an actual AI, like I guess engine or however term that we want to use, or feature or tool or device. Long story short, if you don't want to do the final, there is actually another certification you can do. And I'll talk about that when we're going through the schedule. Basically, you can do the Google Gemini certification, or you can do the Apple certification. Now, some of the other things, like we're going to talk about some tools like Diffit and Gamma, they are they have AI features to them. I do want you to see those only because I've seen the counties are starting to use them and things like that. I do also think it's important to be familiar with AI, even if you're not going to personally use it when you get done with this class, because shocker, your students are going to use it. So I think you need to have some familiarity with it. So we can talk about all that later, and you will get a chance to vent if you are not a big lover of that. But with that being said, we're going to keep it positive with this video. Um, there's the catalog and course description. Pretty much the same thing. I will say the one thing about this class is we have people from all over um, different spots in their programs. Secondary, a lot of times, takes this course post-juncture. Elementary usually takes it pre-juncture. I think graduate students take it whenever Dr. Johnson tells you to take it. Um, so I do kind of mold the class that way. That's one reason why it's a very general type class, because we're all kind of in different spots right now with this. But the technology, I think everyone can use at any point. So if you're worried about how this course aligns to objectives and things like that, that is all in the syllabi. I'm not going to read each one of those because I don't think you want me to. Um, I will say class attendance is basically making sure you're logging in. I don't care when you do the work during the week. Um, so once each module opens for each week, like for example, on Monday, this one will be open. I don't care if you try to do all the work on Monday. I don't, and then maybe some people prefer to do it on Sunday of the last day. That's fine. Some people like to space it out. That's all fine. As long as it's done by 11:59 of the Sunday that it's supposed to be due, you're fine. Um, Course readings, I'm in my office at home and I could kick myself. I did not grab the book off my desk, but it's the Tech Like a Pirate book. It's not a complex book. It's a pretty thin book. I kind of went back and forth about using it because I've used it the last few years in this class. It's not a hard read. I try to pick a book that I think is a little more practical, and it's our discussion boards are based on those readings. So you will have to open the book to kind of check out to see what Matt Miller is actually trying to say with each things. But we'll talk about those week to week. But the book is Tech Like a Pirate. They do have it at the bookstore, but you can also get it off of Amazon and all. I don't think it's too much anymore. I think you can get used copies pretty cheap. So, and of course, if you prefer Kindle or anything like that, that is totally fine. Any type of e-reader. Um, Discussion boards, well, academic integrity. Here's the thing, and I think there's an AI statement in this class, but I'll just kind of give it. It's kind of weird. I talked about AI, and we got to get used to using it. I'll tell you when you need to use it in this class. For the tools and stuff, it's fine. Please, discussion boards, blogs, I really want those to be in your own words. Um, when we're doing a tool like I'm going to say Diffit, it has AI features. I understand you're going to use AI because that's part of it. Um, but for discussion boards, blogs, I want your viewpoints. It's fine if it has a little bit of typos and things like that. I mean, obviously it's got to be readable, but I want your thoughts. And it does. We're starting to get better at having AI checkers and things like that. And if it's written by AI, it could mean that you're not going to get full credit for the assignment, if any credit. So just make sure that you're doing discussion boards and blogs that are your own work. There's also a lesson plan brainstorming assignment that I'll talk about, especially as we get closer to it. That's another one where I would much, I would strongly encourage you to make sure that is also your own work. If you need any type of accommodations, just make sure that you check in with accommodations, and I should be getting letters or anything like that. So, or notifications. Um, but if you need to stop by and talk to me, that is fine. Tutoring is available. There are actually education tutors down there. Before you get a tutor, if you want to swing by and see me, that is totally fine. I would actually probably suggest that. So, we use Brightspace obviously for this. One thing I will say, for all Shepherd type work, myself and for you, please make sure that we're using Shepherd email, just because of different things like viruses and such. Um, Grading policy. Um, I do like Times New Roman. I'm not, so kind of keep it professional. 12-inch font and things like that. I know Brightspace can get a little quirky. I'm not too much of a maniac with that, but when we do the actual re writing assignments, I'll note that too when you have to turn your Word documents in. Again, attendance is about checking in. Late work. I understand life happens. Um, by and large, I do deduct points if I do receive something late. But if you have something that comes up or you think you are going to turn something late, just reach out to me. If it's a one or two, I'm not, sometimes stuff happens. Just check with me. It's much better to be proactive than reactive in terms of late work. If you know you're going to be a little late, just let me know. We'll work something out. If I don't know and you ask me like on the Monday, oh, I forgot to turn this in, it'll be a little bit of points off. But we do have a week to get the work done, and I do get everything open. So, um, but if it's like a crisis situation, please do not hesitate. Reach out. And all. So the assignments themselves, I mentioned the lesson plan brainstorming assignment. We'll talk about that as it comes. That's after midterm. But that's basically something where you're going to develop an idea for a lesson plan based on the tech. I had mentioned everyone's kind of at a different point, so it's not a full-fledged unit plan, but or it kind of gives you an idea of how you can outline it and kind of develop it from there. Discussion boards, I need to correct this. This actually should be 10. That was probably, I had summer on my mind. They do longer posts of 5 because of the shorter time. It is actually 10. I'll fix that before this class opens. I'm recording this actually on Friday before the semester starts. Um, and then there's 10 blogs that you also have to do. The classroom resources, you'll see the chart here in a minute, and I'll talk about some of the tech. That's also due. And we'll talk about the technology certification. It's basically the AI, but I am going to keep the Apple as an option just in case there's anyone that is totally tired of AI or wants to try something a little different. Um, there is an observation exercise. I'll talk about that. Don't worry about that. That's actually not as professional. I don't know what the right word is as it sounds. You're going to pick someone from that teaches in pop culture, and you're going to kind of do a little bit of a viewing assessment. One thing for EdTPA you have to do is you have to watch someone teach, and it's something I thought that we could do. And the research paper, I'm going to flesh out the wording on this a little bit because the research paper is actually only for the graduate students. Again, I'll talk about that more in the semester, but the research paper is only for the graduate students. That's Ed 500. So if you're in Ed 380, you do not have a research paper. There are the assignments listed in the point totals. As you can see, they're all right there. This is the graduates breakdown. I'll go through and check, but some of the technology we're going to do, some you've probably been familiar with. Sorry, I didn't want to sneeze there. Um, Magic School, that's a pretty straightforward one. I used to make people make a website here. It's kind of gotten dated. We're going to do Google Classroom. We'll do some presentation software. We'll do Gamma. That's another, it's a PowerPoint, like power up type thing. Formative assessment tech, we'll definitely look at. Google Notebook, that's been recently, I think, the most popular tech that we've been using in this class. Diffit, Canva, Padlet, the QR codes, things like that. Again, weekly tech. Like I say, you can kind of get in a rhythm with this class. It is tech discussion blog, tech discussion blog, tech discussion blog. That's your assignment. I'll clean up that language up there. I thought I had caught everything, but I'll make sure it's correct on Monday. Oh, Padlet's another one we're going to do. Did I not list Padlet in there? I did, yes. I like Padlet. For some reason, it's one of my favorite texts that we do. Um, and there's the outline for the class itself. I do have them a little bit color coded. I think I have the Apple certification on there. Yeah, this is 380. So I'll try to. The research paper for the graduate students is actually due this week also. And again, I'll make sure to have that fixed on here. But that's kind of it. That's the overview of the class. Of course, you can check the syllabus out, and please make sure that if you have any questions, you can check, stop by, email me, anything like that. I try to answer emails within 24 hours. I'm not perfect though. There might be, if you don't hear back from me in 24 hours, just fire me another email and say, hey, I emailed you, but I never heard back. Um, there's a couple times I have to do some conferences this semester. I'll let you know ahead of time if I'm on a different time zone. I think I have to go somewhere in the central, so I might be operating on slightly off, anything like that. I do routinely check my email probably more than I should. Um, so I think I'll get back to you pretty quick if you email. I always think the best way to contact. I think that's kind of it. One thing we will talk about, I just saw it on air and sorry, there was a fly. This is what I'm talking about. It can be sometimes these things will be a little unprofessional. It was flying by, flying by. Um, One thing we'll talk about is going to be the 21st century skills. We'll get into that next week. It's nothing too complex, but there'll be a little bit of content that we'll talk about each week. But I think I try, for better or worse, I think the technology drives the class a little bit, and we'll talk about the technology and then kind of like the methodology or things that you can do. Um, I will say because everyone pretty much from every discipline is in this class. I don't zero in on one thing or one area and how they use it. I might suggest something, but these are very general texts. There are technologies that I may make note of that, hey, this is probably more of an elementary one. You might want to check it out. Um, is it Class Dojo? By the way, my background is definitely secondary. I'm the secondary coordinator here. I worked in social studies, but Classroom Dojo, I know, is very popular in the elementary world. We won't really look at that, but there is a one module 1 week when we're talking about classroom management. I do have some videos up on it in case you're interested in checking it out and things like that. Same way with I'm going to pick on PE. PE they have a lot of technology that I think you need in that classrooms. Obviously, in an online class, we're not going to use those like things, I mean, timers and different things like that. Luckily, we have two awesome PE coordinators who will help you and show you some of that stuff in their methodology class. And a lot of your discipline specific technologies you will get in your methodology classes, which is a good thing in my opinion. I'm doing social studies methods this fall, and we're going to talk about some of those in social studies. So anyway, with all that being said, I think that's it in terms of nuts and bolts. You don't need to worry about any of that. That is all just stuff related to our accreditation. So I'm going to shrink this. Oop. And we are going to, give me one sec. And I'm going to pause recording just for a second if you don't mind, because I want to grab something. Sorry, I stepped out. I thought maybe I had my book. I was thinking, wait a minute, maybe I do, but I did not. So anyway, um, week one, I just want to go ahead and talk about that. So if we go down here on the syllabus and actually in the module, we'll just do both. But in terms of week one, as you can see, basically this week it's the requirements in the course introduction. We have people that'll be dropping the class, adding the class, things like that. All fine and dandy. Um, what I would like you to do though is there's going to be two things, and actually I should have. I think I didn't even make you do blog one on that one, did I? I did not, which is totally fine. I wasn't for sure if I did that or not. This week you actually don't have to do a blog, but I'll show you where everything is. I will have everything in terms of links under the week. And as you can see, I'll move blog one because sometimes I'll show you what the tech we're going to do. This week's just kind of fun. Um, the videos will always be right here. So when I'm recording right now, you will be able to click right here. I think this is an old one because I haven't loaded this one up, obviously. Let's look. And I think it's right there. And you can see, I may actually, as you can see, watch on YouTube. We're having some changes with the Brightspace. I will have these up on a YouTube channel that I have. You are welcome to subscribe to the channel, like and subscribe, get my new numbers up. I never made anyone actually do that or hyped it up, but I was thinking, why not? So if you want to subscribe to the YouTube channel, you can get these videos ahead of time, probably. Um, but they'll be posted here and you can just watch them. And as you can see, you just hit the play button. But when you go in, video will be here. Our technology will always be there. One thing I do, the beauty of the internet is I'll show you some of the tech that we're going to use on my own computer, but there are definitely more polished people who have made specific longer form videos on the tech. If mine does not cut the mustard, so to speak, for what your expectations are or what you need, I will have backup videos up each week if you want to check those out. Or if you prefer not to listen to my voice and would rather watch the technology of the person that's on there to how to use it, that's totally fine. The technology knowing how to use it is much more important than you like whether you like my interpretation of how to use it versus someone else's. I just want you to be familiar with it and know how to use it and decide if you want to use it in your own classroom. Um, the technology actually that we're going to talk about this week is Google Arts and Culture. And this is it. Now, here's the thing. You'll see the link. I'll pull it up right here. There'll always be links. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Google Arts and Culture, and I'll show you. The reason I picked this week is we're going to do some introductions. But they Google Arts and Culture is one where it has a lot of it focuses on the arts. There are some science aspects to it, but there's a lot of cool things like virtual museums, and you can check out things like there you go, like Candy Bomber and all that. This is all cool. If you are an art major, I think they really like it. Sometimes some disciplines aren't too crazy about it, but as you can see, you can check like a lot of art. What's your favorite color? And then it does activities with that, and then it picks up art. That's all nice. What I want you to do this week, though, is this. You're going to go and have this. This is called a cell phone. I don't know if you're familiar with that technology or not. It doesn't matter what type. I would like you to go on your apps and actually add the Google Arts and Culture app to your phone. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to show it to the camera, but it's a black symbol. I think it's kind of on there. There it is. I think you can see it. It's right there on it. I'm looking at the camera. If you type in Google Arts and Culture, you'll find it. And what you have to do, I'll put these steps on there pretty easily so you can follow. But once you download the Google Arts and Culture app, you're going to click the app. I would tell you to do this on the website, but you can't actually do it. And when you go down there, there's going to be once you have it, there's going to be something that says Explore cities, play, and studio. And again, it's down here at the bottom. Hopefully you can see where I'm kind of pointing. You're going to hit play, and then you're going to do your camera, and you're going to take an art selfie. You may have seen this before. Basically, you do an art selfie, and it matches your face to a famous work of art. I did this. I've done it a lot. As you can see, let's see what I'm pulling up right there. These are all my things. That was my art selfie. I will have this posted up on the website if if you want to check it out. But as you can see, it matches it and gives you a history. This was me in the height of summer. My hair was very shaggy. I just shaved it off for the year to let it grow out. And as you can tell, I also wasn't shaving at the time either. And it matches me up. And I'm going to put this, I have not done it yet, actually. I'm telling you to do this, and I'm going to do it before you all do. But you're going to go, that'll actually change the discussion one. Sorry, I should have done that already. But you'll go to the discussion board, and when you go down here, Arts and Selfie, you'll just go in here. If you could, if you don't mind, you will post your art selfie. You can do it as an attachment. You can screenshot it. You can embed it, however you want to do it. But just download it or email it to yourself and post it up there. And then just give a little bio of yourself. I'll have one up as a sample, but like what's your concentration area or your content area? Mine is obviously social studies. That's what I taught for over 15 years. What are your interests? Like my interests are I hike, I read, I travel, I golf. That's pretty much it, and hang with my family and the cat. That's usually kind of it. Um, and kind of say I'm looking forward to the year. This one does not have to be a long um, post. I will say for discussion post after this first one, I do look for 150 words. It's actually on the syllabi and says that I look more for quality over quantity, but 150 words isn't really a whole lot. So when you're responding, make sure you're kind of getting in that 150 word stratosphere. Um, I think that's just, I used to not have a word count, but people always ask me for a word count, and I felt like it's just better to have a word count. But to go back to what we were just talking about, once you do the art selfie, please make sure you can put it up here. If you really don't want to put your picture up on the internet, that is, or on the discussion board, that's fine. But at least please do the bio if you could. And even, if you want to give a little feedback on your picture, that's fine, saying, I don't think this looks anything like me. By the way, you don't have to use the first one. It gives you like 10. You can even retake it. Some people sometimes will redo their hair and such. It's just supposed to be fun. And it also gives me a name in the face to kind of match a little bit. Since we're an online class, it helps me a little bit. But I don't want to make you put it up if you really, really don't want to. But it's kind of fun. I'll have mine up if you want to. And just put it on there and just give the bio. And that'll be all up on probably. I'd like to have this up on Sunday, but at Monday at midnight at the latest. And I'm trying to think anything else on that. Everything will be under content right there. And I'll send out a breakdown of all of this too. I got to change some of the wording. I just noticed blog one. I put blog one. I could kill myself. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. I could kick myself. I could kick myself for not putting discussion one instead of blog one. And I think that should do it. Yeah. All right. That's it. But you'll just do everything that's under this. If it's not under the weekly breakdown, you don't have to worry about it. Um, I will probably, when we get to the discussion, I mean the unit plan and the teaching observation, I may give you a week or two a head start on those just because they're a little more time consuming. But again, most weeks it's going to be tech discussion blog, tech discussion blog. This week, it's just tech and discussion, just to kind of get an intro on everyone. And then we'll get rolling with week two. Chances are I'll get week two open pretty early just because this is a kind of a short and easy week. With the first week because it's a class, it's almost like a live class, just making sure we have everyone that's going to be in the class for the future. So, um, like I say, discussions 150. I think that's it. I'm doing some of this just from looking there, but I don't want to make the video too long. Again, like and subscribe if you want to the channel. Um, and I think that'll do it. Ask if you have any questions. I'm looking forward to the semester. I always think this class is a lot of fun. Um, by and large, if you find it, I will say this, if you do find a tech that you think might be useful in a class, please forward it to me. Um, some of the techs that I have in this class are ones that I've seen out in the field. I stopped teaching middle school before the pandemic. So a lot of the technology, you'll probably hear me reference the pandemic a lot in this class because I'll say I was using this before the pandemic, but whoa, it's a lot different now. Or no one was using this before the pandemic and everyone's using it now. We're also getting 7 years past the pandemic and there's so much tech now that's changing. So with all that being said, I think that's it. I hope we have a great semester. Again, if I forget anything, I'll be sure to put in a message. I'll clean up any of those things I caught as I was talking, like with discussion boards and on the syllabus and stuff. It seems like sometimes you don't catch that stuff until you're actually talking about it. And you can look forward to one of these videos a week. I promise I will not keep it this long. This is the first week, so it gets a little chatty. And if you ever, when you get the emails from this class, the overviews, they will always be under announcements. I'll make sure they're there. As you can see, our welcome is already up. I just haven't released it yet. And I think I'll make sure I clean that up. But anyway, make sure I don't have any typos in there. So look forward to talking to everyone. And I'm going to stop sharing and I'll talk to you later. Bye.